go to that, we have match number 2 with Monsanto versus Zalae. It's our featured matchup, so let's go ahead and check in on what these two players have to say about each other.
My name is Paul Nemeth, aka Zalae. The thing I'm most looking forward to in Hearthstone Grandmasters is beating my opponents to a pulp. Just kind of physically dominating them, you know?
Hi, I'm Monsanto.
I was very consistent last year, maybe one of the most consistent players on NA on ladder, but I really have yet to win any big tournament, and that's what I'm looking for.
Hearthstone's very complicated, and an effective strategy for me is to try and simplify it. I play my minions so they're in play, I hit my opponent in the face so he has less life. I focus on the fact that tempo is good. I don't think mental strength is important in Hearthstone at all. It's really strictly a physical game, and everything else is just a distraction.
What makes me special as a player, I think, is I try everything. I try every possibility in decks, I try new things. And so when there's something that went under the radar, there's a big chance that I actually found it and I can bring that deck.
My initial thoughts on the other players in my division is that I'm in pretty good shape. I like my chances against these players. I think I can beat them up. They're a bunch of stupid noobs.
Zalae's scary. He would say that he can dominate me physically, and that is definitely true. I'd say I have an edge over him.
Being in Grandmasters means a lot to me.
I mean, I dropped out of school to play Hearthstone. It's so important for me to do well because that's pretty much everything for me. So I'll do everything I can just to improve in Hearthstone.
You know, it would be pretty cool if I could be first place in the Grandmaster system, but to be completely honest, I don't expect that. Yeah, second place. That seems like a realistic goal. I could probably finish second place in the Grandmasters program.
Monsanto versus Zalae. There's going to be only one winner of this series, and we have what feels like to be a pretty interesting one in the sense that we have a difference of ideology. The first 3 decks are pretty closely mirrored with Combo Priest, Malygos Druid, and the Control Warrior, but the 4th deck is Paladin versus Shaman. That's caused a slight deviation on both sides. Zalae opting to ban the Druid, but when Monsanto was presented an opportunity to ban Priest, he didn't, TJ. Is that because of his Paladin?
It must be because of the Paladin, but he also has the extra removal Control Warrior, which means that he's got like 2 decent matchups against Priest, and he's willing to fight against it. Whereas like Malygos Druid against those slow decks is just super punishing, right? It's specifically against his Warrior, which has almost no proactive tools. It's like all reactive. And specifically like has like Spellbreaker, Militia Commander, Whirlwind, and Double Plague of Wrath, which don't necessarily do anything against Malygos Druid. So I think that Priest could be a problem just because of its overall power level, but given his lineup, seems like Malygos Druid is a good ban overall, considering what he had left.
Yeah, Malygos Druid is so popular for Americas. It's represented, I believe, 13 times? 12 times. One player chose to bring Druid and didn't bring Malygos Druid. That was Amnesiac. He brought Quest Druid. When you look at Quest Druid, they have normal tempo tools that utilize big swing legendaries like Cenarius and King Phaeorus. But the Malygos Druid ditches a lot of that top and instead plays Malygos, Geppetto Joybuzz, Moonfires. And some even go a step further with keeping Zephrys and whatnot in order to get more combo damage.
Or King Phaeorus. There's some Malygos Druids running King Phaeorus,
that is just incorrect, DJ.
I can't help but feel like I agree with you, just based off of every Hearthstone instinct I have, deep down to my bone marrow.
Well,
but
I have never played Phaeorus and say, you know what, I want more Wisps. I've just never had those moments.
Because you're not playing Moonfires or Swipes. Unless you're ditching your game plan completely, you're not.
Right.
And you are incentivized based on just the core of the deck to copy those as well.
Now, what I think is somewhat acceptable, actually it's very acceptable, is that a lot of times people can't afford the full version of the deck, TJ. So they have to make do with what they got. They played Quest Druid a lot. They want to play Malygos version of it.
But it just makes the deck more expensive.
Well, I mean, like maybe they have Geppetto Joybuzz as well, so they think, oh, you know, having a 1-mana King Pharaohs would be pretty dope.
Yes.
Let the pain speak to me.
I don't know. It just
I'm in your camp.
like Nalgidon runs Florist, Geppetto, Malygos, and King Feoris. Hand size is also a big thing, and if you have another minion that's, I guess King Feoris you can dump, but if you just want to dump it, play something cheap. I don't know. We'll talk about that later when there's actually a King Feoris in a Malygos Druid deck. Neither of these players have this. They're running the much more lean version.
Yeah, neither of them will be played because we're going to Priest
they're
versus
banned.
the Warrior.
Yeah.
Early game hero powers on both sides. 1 to gain armor, 1 to heal the injured Tolvi or Zalae, trying to draw the cards, and Monsanto debating if he wants to get rid of this Acolyte and deny its card draw.
Trying to think of the other silence targets in the matchup. There aren't many. Silencing a taunt to push through lethal later on in the game.
Yep.
But that's pretty much it. Snip Snap, you know, a big Snip Snap.
Quickly.
Yeah, I think I would like to use silence in this position.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's not many other targets you'd want. I think I also wouldn't mind if Monsanto was slightly aggressive here.
Play the Wild Pyromancer.
You know, I was thinking about going even bolder.
Play the Divine Spirit Topsy-Turvy.
And then Psycho Bomb.
Okay.
No, I was thinking about Divine Spirit and Wild Pyromancer, but just going really big early.
Yeah.
The reason why is because you're coming up on the Restless Mummy turn, and I don't want my minion to die. I do recognize that we have Psycho Pop, which is what partially makes it nice.
Yeah.
Imagine going for the Topsy-Turvy that early, TJ.
Just push it
Could
12.
you be that bold? That might be a little bit too aggressive for me.
Yeah.
But, you know, putting it to 12 health, it's not like a lot of these warrior decks are running those executes. It's very difficult for them to push past it. They would have to have specific Spellbreaker. I guess that's probably what Monsanto's most worried about. And because he has a Psycho Pop, he knows that after this Restless Mummy, he still has a lot of game.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that he's incentivized to have this minion die. Because if he protects this, then he has no follow-up. Right? He's playing nothing. Unless he picks up Inner Fire, which is at this point at 2 and 23.
Whoa. I like it. Set up for Harrison Jones. This is a common play that we see a lot being done in the Bomb Warrior Mirror or Control Warrior Mirrors back in the day when they had like a Lysiana advantage. Some players would have Lysiana, some wouldn't. And so what they could do is do this, draw deeper into their deck, find Dr. Boom earlier, then get the Elysiana War started with a lot of time to spare. Now going into this match, I think Zalae recognizes that he needs his removal tools. Plague of Wrath is important. Silence is important. So Harrison Jones is going to be tempo plus card draw. I mean, Harrison kind of does a lot of everything. If your opponent has a weapon, he's tempo, he's value, he's also even removal to an extent.
He's also combo.
He's also combo.
She played the Weapons Project
He's
to enable
also
the combo.
control. You know, he's also a mid-range minion.
Fits every archetype.
Yeah. He's even fatigue because he draws you closer to it.
Has there ever been a metagame with like no super impactful weapons?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember one, but there's always been like one, right?
So there, well...
Because there was even like Skull of the Minari, which was kind of the only weapon that was worth running weapon removal for in the like Cube Warlock metagame last year.
Right, because Cube Warlock, Jade Druid, and Raza Priest were like the dominant forces. Tempo Rogue was kind of a thing, but they weren't really running a lot of weapons. It was mainly just their daggers.
Yeah.
So like weapon removal was a kind of thing. There was also a metagame where Combo Druid and Zoo Warlock and like were kind of the popular decks.
Well, but that Patron Warrior was also big.
Patron Warrior is also
so
big.
like getting rid of the Death Bite was valuable.
True.
And then there was one metagame where the only weapon was Aggro Shaman.
Well, Aggression was good at a time when Pirate Warrior was good.
There was a time where Aggression was good before that. It was a time when Muzzy was playing in, what was it, the PvP Live?
Quickly.
Yeah.
That metagame, which didn't have Pirate Warrior yet, but Muzzy was still playing Aggro Shaman every week.
Oh, the mid-range Shaman meta, TJ, where like every deck was mid-range Shaman.
Yeah, but even that had
In the light's name.
Spear Claws.
Oh yeah, you're right. Spirit Claws. I mean, also Cthulhu Warrior was a thing back then.
Yeah.
Basically, Warrior, Rogue,
Before the Fire
and
War
Paladin
nerf.
have like always been really relevant in some capacity.
And even when they haven't, there's been a deck that is popular that has a really impactful weapon like Cube Warlock or Aggro Shaman. I don't know.
Warrior's gone through long stretches where it was like dominant for a year and then irrelevant for a year.
Yeah.
What now?
So, and also, I think this period of the this specific con cycle might be the weakest Rogue has ever been.
That's true.
This brawl incoming is going to be very impactful, and Monsanto's going to have to reload with the Monsanto.
It's good follow-up, though.
It's good follow-up, and that's probably the best minion for Monsanto to survive just purely off of its stats, but I think he would have preferred an... no, I think this is good.
Probably a Light Warden, maybe.
Yeah, but then the...
Then he's playing Bonsambi, so he's not healing.
yeah, the Injatolvir dies because the 2-1 thing comes back. Whoa,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, your opponent just played removal, and you're coming up... Alright.
It is capped at 8.
Yeah, but that is threatening a 2-turn lethal because your opponent's at 30, and you would deal 16, so your opponent could armor up. I mean, it's optimistic. to say
Yeah.
the least.
He knows he's drawing BB sidekicks, though, so if he holds on for a turn and Zalae doesn't remove it, if he did remove it, you would have been punished for going for that play anyway.
Yeah,
if he doesn't remove it, then you get to capitalize with even more stats onto the board.
Yeah. No, it's just better in almost every argument outside of immediate damage.
Yeah. It also increases the quality of the average draw from his deck because he's picking out the 1-drops.
Right.
So
What if he
maybe picks
drew
up-
Beaming Sidekick, right? He'd be really sad.
Yeah. Now he can. He has a better chance to draw the second Divine Spirit and maybe kill him in 1 turn. So now from Zalae's perspective, it seems like he's been trying to set up to be able to play Dr. Boom Mag Genius with the coin on 9, but this makes it quite awkward.
I must choose.
I don't know. Brawl is bad. Restless Mummy plus Kill Something seems pretty poor as well. He's seen a silence, so he could just do this and hold.
Precision.
Yeah. Wants to double attacks.
Yep.
Seen the silence. He didn't see a Wild Pyromancer, but he knows 4 cards are 1-drops.
Well, he did see 1 Wild Pyromancer.
Right. He knows that there's another threat of
Yeah.
possibility of 1.
But if he does that, then it's severely limiting his ability to combo. Because he'd still have to put an attack into this Eternium Rubber Zeliax
Someone
combination.
injured?
Yeah. It's not going to stop Monsanto from drawing cards.
Yep. These post-Bonsomni terms are tough because you have 2 Northside Clerks in hand a lot of times.
Is someone
So you have
injured?
to move fast because you have to be able to react to your card draw. But at the same time, you have so many cards to play, so many things to consider that you want to wait and try and think through all your options. Oh, another Divine Spirit.
So if Monsanto can stick a minion,
Pretty much a minion.
it's going to be +4 times 2 times 2. So it would be very much enough to cover Zalae if either of these minions survive. And I think Monsanto is going to prioritize drawing more cards, sticking more minions.
Speak to me.
Hey, I got you, friend.
Interesting. Not even an attack onto the 4/5. Whirlwind, but no Plague of Wrath.
So he saw 1 Brawl.
Yeah, this looks like a second brawl to me for Zalae, but let's think about it a little bit further.
If he brawls, he can kill almost any minion that survives with the Restless Mummy.
Sure. It's looking pretty likely that Zalae is going to be able to get out, but if the big minion survives, he's in trouble.
Actually, Whirlwind just answers it.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe he wants to save Whirlwind for
Plague of
Wrath. Yeah, he would pick it up.
Plus, I like the rest money to get tempo on the board preemptively.
Yep.
No tomb can hold me.
Just for reference of how ridiculous sometimes a priest can be, 1-3 surviving, and he had double beaming psychic still in hand. Be 3 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 28. Just for reference.
Yeah.
Just want to throw it out there.
How much health does Zalae have right now?
28. For sure.
So for Monsanto, I'm pretty sure it's just time to play literally every card in his hand. It's about that time, Dan.
If he plays every card in his hand, this Injured Blade Master goes up to a 4-9.
It's a 36-36.
36-36.
That's big.
Medic!
Yep.
Hey, I got you, friend.
So now Zalae is effectively on a Plague of Wrath to win the game.
Quick T-pose.
And he
He could just play 2 more to get taunts in the way and stall for time.
Yep.
I would not tempt fate here.
Nope. You play that to be Mad Genius. You are dead.
How long until these combo priests start playing Zephyrus in their deck list? Just to pull one out here. I mean, that's a big minion, and Zalae still doesn't have removal for it. But he can start getting himself out of that armor range, which I think is crucial.
Yep.
Because if he can get up to above 36, he can still withstand a hit, even if the Injured Blade Master gets through.
He might be worried about extra arms as a possibility. If you're going to make a risky play like that and say, I can take a hit.
2 shield blocks.
2 shield blocks. He's seen Silence. There's not any other combination of cards that can get through this 2 more, and this might be the opportunity for Dr. Boom, but Zalae does have 2 Plague of Rats in his deck, and the faster you can find it, the faster he's able to call this a 100% one game.
Starting to sweat, TJ.
Ooh, if they're bottom 2, does he win? Does he win? I don't know. He could take. He has 2 hits to be able to take it, so he has at least 2 turns.
So much stats. So you can deal 6 with the Mummy,
I wonder.
9 with the 2 Morden. No, we are not taking damage to their own face. 5 from the Dynamatic. That's 14 damage. That's not even half of Monsanto's life on the minion. Neverset Ritualist. Sure. Although, it only heals for 2 HP.
Yeah, and he's got an activator for
Yeah.
Plague of Wrath anyway.
Plague of Wrath anyways.
Maybe you hold on to it for a reload afterwards, but
Reload.
I mean, at this point, he's got an Inner Fire. He has no Divine Spirits. He has a Power Word Shield and an Inner Fire. That's his way to have something gain life. And if you draw Psychopomp, maybe he doesn't want a Neverset Ritualist in the pool to be able to res. So, like, how much is that 2/3 doing? Does it affect his math? No. Unless it goes, unless Zalae somehow gets above 70.
Oh!
That'll do
there
it.
is.
Your magic shall not save
Oh.
you. Have better.
Instant concede. No sick-ass reloads here from the priest.
It's as if Zalae expected it. He didn't even, like, think about the rest of his turn. He just saw the Spellbreaker, played it, and sat back and just waited for Monsanto to concede.
Yeah. Well, he should, because he had no other option. He was all in. And that's game number 1 for our featured match of the day. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to continue Monsanto versus Zalae.
darker than they've ever been. As evil descends from the skies, the world cries out, how will we survive? Out of the hall of explorers, and up from the dusty tombs, they grab their whips and fedoras. These legends of the past know exactly what to do. There might be magic monsters, mummies in the markets, and ancient mysticism. There's surely scorching deserts, adventure, monster of narcissism. High stakes think annihilation, obliteration of civilization. Now is the time to be brave. Evil's come to enslave, but this league's gonna save the world.
My name is Ryan Murphy Root. I go by Purple. I really like waking up. The first like 4 or 5 hours are like the best hours of the day. I like going taking dogs for walks after my 8 hours of Hearthstone and my couple naps. Unique to me is like my ability to randomly deck people with just random decks that aren't supposed to function like that. I see shifts in patterns in the game where it is no longer possible to win the traditional way, and I tend to see those pretty early.
What are you afraid of?
Snakes, the dark, not necessarily in order. I'm not gonna tell you in which order they are though. Design a Hearthstone card. All right, 3/3, minor, Mac, remove all bombs from your deck. I had to play this one card in every single deck. Well, my boy Arthas just rotated, but my boy King Mukla, he's still in standard. Unfortunately, currently doesn't have a place, but I do like the giant ape sound. Personal goals for the year. Just win? Yeah, just win.
My name is Fei Liang. My handle is EPC. Before Hearthstone, I was playing World of Warcraft, and when I saw Elite Tauren shift, and I think the card is pretty cool, I'm gonna try it. I think the style I like the most is combo deck, because there are a lot of win conditions and there are a lot of ways you can win the game. My son plays Hearthstone sometimes.
Is he good?
He got rank 9. He likes zoo list.
Are you gonna teach your daughter to play Hearthstone?
Yeah, of course.
Do you think that she'll be better than him?
Probably yes, because I think my daughter is way smarter than my boy. Getting #1 in Grandmaster is gonna totally change my life. I think it proved myself, and my kids are gonna be proud of me.
Monsanto turning to the Druid and Zalae on the Shaman. Quest Shaman, best Shaman. Zalae.
What? Was it Druid banned on both sides?
Then the graphic was wrong.
Oh, okay.
I apologize, TJ. Monsanto probably staying on the Priest, and Zalae going to the Shaman.
Okay.
It's my guess. Zalae does have the Earthshock in his deck list. That is the one of that he's going to be dependent on. No Plague of Murlocs. That seems to be a key card against Priest, and yet Zalae letting Priest through. Well, not necessarily letting it. The fact that his opponent protects Priest, but yet bringing Shaman with no Plague of Murlocs. This is something that Amnesiac and Sand were bringing last week, and a few other people as well. It's a very important card, I'd say.
It worked out well. It was very effective, specifically against Priest.
Oh, yeah.
Now there's always the chance that you can discover additional Earthshocks, Hexes, Plague of Murlocs from Ethereal Lackeys, but you can't rely on that as an effective strategy against any deck. Getting the 1 in 5 Lackey, or sorry, 1 in 6 Lackey now.
Well, TJ, I also want to say something else. There are some of you out there that decided to go not only with Plague of Murlocs, but to play Hungry Crabs with your Plague of Murlocs. And then you hero power with the Plague of Murlocs and double Battle Cry with the Hungry Crabs.
Talking about somebody specifically, Dan?
Yeah, it was a player that went by the username YHLU, or Yulu is what we were calling it. And then I drew the Flak Mage, played a couple of free secrets with Quest Mage, and I used Brian Kilber's deck and piloted to victory using the Heart of the Cards of the Power of Friendship. To which I said, Yulu, more like you lose. And I beat him. So it turns out the Hungry Crab tech didn't work. Don't put it in your deck. It's really not worth that.
It's a big W for the Frodank.
It was a huge W, TJ, because I was rattling off the wins. You saw how hyped I was getting.
I did.
TJ, I am like 8-2 with that deck so far.
You were popping off. Speaking of popping off, Dan.
There's a lot going on here with these two Northshire Clerics and nothing on Zalae's side. Woo.
Yeah. Imagine if you draw a circle of healing off the top. Oh, why would I even say it?
Now, again, this might be a little bit early, but is Zalae out of this game, TJ? This is looking like fast tempo and draw options and the ability to build the board if Zalae doesn't do anything. Zalae skips his turn. Monsanto plays Injured Blade Master or Extra Arms.
It's been a long time. It's been many moves, many meta moves, since we've had a deck where we can nearly call a game over on turn 2. Pirate Warrior comes to mind.
Yeah, Undertaker, Hunter.
You could call it most of the times before the game even started.
Quest Rogue. Because they played the quest and then they
against
played,
Warrior.
Yeah, and they play Showing Your Shadow Stone.
Yep, that's another one. Before the game even started, for Control Warrior versus Freeze Mage back in the day. There was some, but it's been a while.
Spectator feature on our screen's a little bit wonky.
Should take a picture of that. Oh, nope, it's fixed. So this still is tough, because he has no way to get the card draw from these outside of bump the Evil Totem, heal it, but then he doesn't kill it.
I think we're okay with the tempo options. Now, Zalae, one of his best draws is the Wasp in this position. Does not get it.
Can still pick up Goblin Lackey or Kobold Lackey.
Of course it's the right way.
But that only allows him to kill one thing. Ooh, one card off. But even then, he would have killed one thing. And there would have been a Lackey on board, so he could trade and heal. But now we're entering even more frightening territory for Zalae, where now there's a guaranteed heal on board onto the Injured Blade Master, which not only gains tempo, but also draws Monsanto 2 cards. And that doesn't even account for any follow-up that Monsanto could have to that play.
Job's done.
I hope you like my invention.
Probably going to need a mind control to... Ooh, okay.
Now, imagine that was a Plague of Murlocs, TJ.
Yes.
Just imagine.
I'm imagining.
Always little time.
Yeah, that'd be better. I imagined.
Zalae contemplating how to maximize his camera screen time since he can't stream during Grandmasters. But yeah, this is looking... Oh,
whoa!
With the Injured Tolvir draw.
So he could draw...
Mamma mia!
He could draw 4 cards.
Yeah, while developing maximum tempo. The only thing is that he has to be careful not to develop into mind control tech.
But he's developing 5 minutes before the hero power is active.
True. There's still a lot of opportunity for it to backfire, though.
Yeah.
You steal, like, the 2/6 and then... Or you steal the 4/7. That is just really bad.
Yep.
I was not anticipating a Light Warden. But I guess that makes sense. You don't have to play the Injured Tolvir. Instead, you buff it up.
Still draws 4 cards. Also makes a very big minion, which means that if Zalae did play Mind Control Tech and stole the 4/7, Zalae would still have a big threat that could answer it and follow up.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. And the Power Word Shield to put outside the Cobalt Lackey range. TJ.
And no Mind Control Tech to be seen.
Right.
Has Earthshock, but it is a small consolation prize.
Zalae can't figure out a series, like a path to victory here.
I wonder.
And I think that his path to victory, his only one, which is first of all a narrow margin. Like, don't mistake the fact that we wish that this Earthshock was a Plague of Murlocs to determine like Zalae is favored in this game. He's not. It's that it gives Shaman a fighting chance. Even if he got the Plague of Murlocs off right now, he'd be behind on board.
Might even increase the power on board.
Might even increase the power on board. Bonsamdi and Extra Arms are all like ready to go for like more pressure and reload. It's like this is still a bad situation.
Yeah.
So make no mistake, Zalae has been screwed for quite a while, and he can go for one final Hail Mary attempt, but his best removal tools like Earthquake and whatnot would even come fast enough. Okay, well, Divine Spirit.
Monsanto could draw his deck this turn. A lot of it.
Yeah. Seems like it.
If he had a Wild Pyromancer, he could just draw his whole deck.
So Monsanto has the Circle of Healing ready to go. Draws 4 cards to a full hand. Has opportunity for double Divine Spirit and Inner Fire.
Quickly.
That Light Warden stayed alive, it would have very much been lethal.
Yes. But he can play the second Light Warden here and kind of bank up a lethal effectively.
I've got more left in me.
Just 1 point of damage. Not that it's going to matter.
Not that it matters really at all at this point. I think Zalae's could go for the Cobalt Lackey, Weaponized Wasp, or Ethereal Lackey into Plague of Murlocs.
Or Ethereal Lackey into Lightning Storm with a couple high rolls on Lightning Storm.
Okay.
Could be decent.
Yeah, he's going to try.
Yeah.
From nothing.
Mutate into Doomsayer. Oh, it's a friendly minion. No?
It's a friendly minion, and even if he gets Doomsayer, it can easily be traded into on the board. There's also a Silence.
Well, yeah, if he mutates his opponent's minion, but he can't do that because that's not how the card works.
Is there anything he can mutate in for himself that would help? Hecklebot on the 3-mana minion would absorb some pressure. 2-mana minions, not really.
Yeah, Zalae gonna finish the quest, take down this Light Warden. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage.
So it's still awkward for Monsanto just for the fact that he's not finding game-ending damage.
He might be able to almost guarantee it if he like plays cards in Circle of Healing.
He would have to play Divine Spirit because that would be happening regardless.
You silence an enemy minion, you play Divine Spirit, just play your cheap stuff, and then
He needs
Circle of
space
Healing.
he needs space for 4 cards. Oh, this is clever. Yeah. because Divine Spirit would give him 3 cards. So you Divine Spirit and Circle of Healing, you draw 3. Oh, no, yeah, he can draw 4 here. So 4 damage minions, draws 4, fills up his hand. Topsy.
Topsy. He's got 14, 15, 16.
Hey!
Oh, found Baby Sidekick, so that should be it.
And there it is.
Yep, I think it's exactly 21.
Gets there, and exactly 21. He had extra arms as well for a little bit extra.
Yeah.
And that's going to do it. So game number 2, very quick win for the Priest. Although Monsanto definitely took his time just to make sure he had all the points of damage.
Yeah.
A lot of people talk about how Priest, when you get into situations, actually becomes a pretty tricky deck to play. It's just that it's a really powerful and impressive start with the Northshire Clerics.
Yeah, I mean, even if he completely flubbed that turn, right? If he'd overdrawn a bunch of key tools, he probably still wins. Just because he was so far ahead at that point, all he needed was just the board to stick for one more turn, and he wins with no additional resources, just extra arms, which he had in his hand.
That's fair enough.
But that was a good spot for him to try and find the best way to win that turn. Drawing the maximum number of cards that he could without overdrawing anything, and doing it quick enough to be able to find it. So it was a well-played turn, but Monsanto could have done pretty much anything and probably still won that game. It's the nature of the matchup, and it's the nature of the Shaman decks not having like a direct answer to these board states that get out of control from Priest.
Got it. All right, well, we're going to take a break. No, just kidding. We're going to game number 3. I'm so used to just going straight after a game into a break, TJ. Now that Monsanto has gotten his win with his Priest, what is he going to turn to? We've seen Monsanto start to play a little bit more of those OTK Paladin decks, and with Malagos Druid out and Shaman in, I think he doesn't want to stay with the Warrior, so we might see a Paladin versus the Shaman.
Yeah, it's probably has to be Shaman. Zalae can't really Q Priest because he's got Warrior and Paladin, so that's like one bad matchup and then one kind of middling matchup. Shaman has the best chance because it can do well. It's good against Warrior and can do well against Paladin. Which you have a lot of from-hand damage. It's hard for the Paladin to time when they time out. So I'm guessing that's what we'll see. But again, pretty standard Holy Wrath Paladin deck from Monsanto. Does have a Soup Vendor thrown in there as opposed to a Subdue. Soup Vendor does seem like an Americas thing. You don't see it as often in other regions. You see the Subdue way more. Just gives you a little bit extra cycle, but a little bit less removal. So Shaman versus Paladin, that's what it is. So this matchup's interesting because the Shaman doesn't often stick boards early on in the game. But what they can do is keep throwing out these awkward board states for Paladin to deal with. Board states that kind of feel like they need to be removed, but not necessarily. And it just keeps snowballing from there. And they generate so much value from their cards that they can often reload even if their board is removed. So it's this weird balance that the Paladin has to strike between what boards you let stick and what boards you remove. And then it's a weird balance for the Shaman of how much do I extend on this board? How much do I play into removal? And what do I keep in my hand to make sure that I have reload? And then, of course, like I mentioned, there's that weird game of chicken later on in the game where if the Paladin's able to remove a lot of the board states, when do they use timeout? Because oftentimes Shaman has a lot of cards in their hand at the end of the game, and it's like, how much damage do I play around? I know that these lackeys are in hand. I know that Life Drinker's a possibility. I know that Weaponized Wasp a possibility. So how much do I play around? What's the range? So it can be a pretty cool matchup.
Evil Cable Rat gets the Titanic Lackey. That's not going to be a high impact one. Whenever I play this deck and my opponent starts accruing direct damage, I start to sweat a little bit. How much do you think is important for Monsanto to contest the board here?
Reporting for duty.
Is there ever like a justification of playing 2-drops?
I don't think so, just because the way his hand looks, there's no real follow-up to Wild Pyromancer. And that can be a pretty crucial tool. Just because Shaman tends to go wide with a lot of small stuff. Zephyrus could be that much-needed gap between
What to do?
the very end of the game when you need one more turn in order to get to your Shirvala combo, and you need one more board removal. Or in a pinch, right? In the mid-game, you've drawn a lot of your deck. Zephyrus is active. You need something to kind of fill that gap. It's
I wonder.
crucial for in that regard. So I like just the hero power here because it's so contestable. Cable Rat and everything else seems awkward.
There is little time.
Pressure plan.
Yeah, this is the most amount of stats. It doesn't seem like Zalae wants to be playing Life Drinker on curve anyways. The Overload does make it a little bit less exciting, but Sandstorm Elemental is a hard card to use in this matchup.
And he can start hitting for 2. Which again is kind of annoying for Paladin because they don't want to have to expend removal on these small boards, but if they keep letting the Shaman develop small boards, they're going to eventually fall behind, and that chip damage is going to be relevant.
Let me think.
This may just be a hero power pass turn from Monsanto.
Yeah, the only thing about it is that if he ends up using none of his cards, he's going to run into hand economy issues again. I totally get why like a Flash of Light here feels like wasteful. Even the Kangor and whatnot. Point Consecration.
So this can set up for Wild Pyromancer Flash of Light?
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. I think what it also does is it takes away the threat of Zalae curving out with a Weaponized Wasp.
Yep.
Or even Bog Slosher to help to really punish in case his opponent like he picks up another cheap card with it.
Yep.
And Monsanto gets to reap the rewards with the Wild Pyromancer and the Flash of Light. Nice plays for Monsanto, honestly. For now, we'll see if it pans out. Zalae has nothing to barista on curve. Does have the ability to finish the quest. In fact, Zalae will be able to play Evil Cable Rat, Sludge Slurper, finish the quest, and hero power and play the Lackey for double the value.
Not quite this turn.
I wonder.
Yeah, next turn you can.
Which maybe you tempo barista?
You think so?
I don't know.
I
don't think so, actually.
Life Drinker, Sludge Slurper. But maybe the Pyromancer is too much. Is too threatening.
Looks like he's just going to try and bank on a couple lackeys to maybe clear off the Wild Pyromancer. He saw Wild Pyro and a Consecration. So these small boards are threatening, and he might be able to get double the value from Barista if he's going to stick, if he were to find Kobold or Goblin.
Yeah, Zalae looks like he really wanted to go for the ability to snipe the Swap Pyromancer, but... Oh! He does have it.
Wow.
Interesting. Looks like he's setting up for the Barista next turn.
Yeah.
This looks like an unusual trade. But there's a lot of logic rooted into it. However, I think if I were to complain about one thing, I think Zalae should have protected the 1-1 to the 2-3 because of the threat of Super Champion. I guess it would have been still weak to a Pyromancer. Yeah, this is a much worse
it is.
Barista now. I think if Zalae had a little bit more time to think about it, he probably would have Titanic Lackey the Witchy Lackey.
Yeah. There's always a lot of things to consider every turn for Shaman. It's one of the... It incentivizes you to go fast. At least faster than that.
Right. And after last week's gameplay, where Zalae effectively missed a chance to win the game, Some people are saying he threw the game. To my right.
I think
Zalae
he even
tweeted
said
out,
it on Twitter that he threw the game.
Zalae said he played horribly.
Yeah.
I did so badly, and I don't understand why exactly.
There is little time.
Barista is safe from Truesover Champion. He needs something a little
It's
extra.
just not that great.
Yeah, but it fits his mana. Sometimes Witchy Lackey, Titanic Lackey can make things awkward.
You always feel so silly in these situations where, like, the smallest of difference, like if you just moved your mouse a little bit to the left or right to click a different card or a different minion or a different spell, and it just has such big ramifications, and you just want to redo that turnover, but that's just not how it works.
If you would just
maybe in some house rules there's take backsies, but not in Hearthstone, not in Bob's Tavern.
If you had just entered the Starbucks 2 minutes earlier, you would have bumped into Conan O'Brien and got a job on his show.
Really?
Yeah. What if, Stan?
Are you referencing a famous story?
No.
Oh, the barista. Got it.
No. That was just a random imaginary anecdote.
Oh. Got it.
To go along with your point that life's a mystery.
Must move quickly.
Monsanto has the ability to draw 2 cards with the Suit Vendor by attacking with the Truesover Champion and then playing Flash of Light. Each of them is going to restore at least 4 health, which allows the Suit Vendor to draw. In fact, by the sequencing of this, he attacks, goes down 4 extra life. Perfect order.
Very
Well
nice.
done by
Maximum
Monsanto.
card draw. Very nice.
We've been singing Monsanto's praises about his technical play throughout the weeks of Grandmasters, and I think you're starting to see why it's important for him to think through all the turns. And yes, he misses a point of damage here and there, but overall, Monsanto is locked. At least focus-wise. Some other players, it seems like they're just talking about how they have trouble focusing, and they can't really explain why. And I'm sure there's a multitude of reasons, but my guess would be that a lot of the players aren't doing enough to take care of themselves outside of the game. They don't really have a regular sleep schedule, or they don't really eat consistently, and therefore their diet can be all over the place and affect their mood and their brain and their focus. And all that kind of stuff factors into sometimes just players making mistakes, or some players misstepping.
We can't escape it.
No Titanic Lackey here to protect his evil totem. That is slightly surprising to me.
Also, no trade into the 1/1 on board.
Right.
To protect the evil totem.
So coming up on turn 7, you start accessing like pretty much every board clear short of a quality consecration. You have Shrink Ray and Pyromancer quality. And consecration was already used, and a Pyromancer's been used, so I think Zalae felt like that was probably okay to get away with, but I would at least want my opponent to work for it, right? Like to at least try and remove the evil totem by playing cards.
Yeah. Because now you can remove it without playing anything.
Yeah, now you can just play Novice Engineer and like subdue, and then you're like good to go.
Maybe he values a lackey on board more than he values his evil totem, which he has 3.
Yeah,
So
I don't buy
that's
it.
a hard argument.
I don't buy it. And I think, well, for one, I mean, Monsanto has the sniper with the evil totem. And the reason why the evil totem is important is because I believe Zalae has yet to get a Cobalt Lackey or an Ethereal Lackey, and both of those could be very important.
Yep. Like he could have Shrink Raid after killing the evil totem to keep his 1/1s on board, but you could see he prioritized killing both that and Bonsamdi to negate the effect of Mutate or another Witchy Lackey from hand.
Exactly.
Because it could negate the effect of the Shrink Ray, which would in turn make Monsanto have a much weaker potential Consecration the next turn to try and clear things up. But a nice reload here.
Float like a butterfly.
2/5/5 hot shots.
Sting like a bee.
Monsanto has the clear ready to go, but does he have to use it in this position?
No timeout. It's starting to get to that awkward phase where Monsanto doesn't have that much card draw in hand and doesn't have timeouts to try and buy time.
He's got 3 cards that can draw cards. Prismatic Lens and 2 Holy Wraths.
Yeah, one of those Holy Wraths you can kind of negate because he needs that to win. So he's got a Prismatic Lens and a Holy Wrath. The second Holy Wrath also is kind of tough to use just because where do you point it? And then if you use Holy Wrath, you only have 3 mana available to try and play something else, so you can't fit in Consecration.
Wow. This is a pretty big deal. Monsanto uses his equality in this position, which means that he no longer has access to a definitive board clear anymore. He doesn't have equality or Shrink Ray.
He is a timeout away from Zephyrs being active, which is a board clear.
Okay, that's fair. You're right.
So if he picks up just 1 timeout, then all of a sudden he can unlock Twisting Nether, Brawl, etc. So maybe that's on his mind. He could Prismatic Lens next turn, which might pick him up a timeout, and then he could timeout whatever board Zalae develops. And then follow that up with Zephyrs, and hopefully the card draw kind of pieces itself together to where he can win the game soon after that.
Interesting. Well, Zalae just summoned a Lost Spirit, which Death Rattle says give your minions +1 attack. So if he Titanic Lackeys that and forces Monsanto to kill it, might improve the power of his board. That's a really interesting,
There's little time.
interesting adaptation to what was given off the Faceless Lackey. If you Titanic Lackey the Life Drinker, for example, you're kind of making Subdue a lot better than it actually needs to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so Monsanto, Prismatic Lens.
Still no timeout. That Crystology picks up nothing.
Crystology's a dead draw, huh?
No, 1 Novice Engineer. Because he doesn't play an Acolyte of Pain.
Got it.
Oh, no, it also picks up Blood Mage Sauno. So it's actually fully online. That's interesting. Usually with 8 cards left in deck and 1 Crystology played, you've pieced together all of your 1-attack minions. So it actually does draw 2.
That's fair. One thing Monsanto has to be worried about is that this damage isn't exactly well represented. If he leaves any minion on board, that Lost Spirit trades in, that's +4 damage.
Let me think.
I must move quickly.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, +4, 11, plus a Life Drinker.
It's time to test
Sludge Slurper. Yeah, Monsanto needs to go for the Shirvala. There's a chance that he dies if he didn't do this because of the threat of Shudderwalker.
Yeah.
Sandstorm Elemental.
Kind of fortunate that he picked up the Sandstorm Elemental. Otherwise, no, he had a way to clear with it. Lost Spirit into Shirvala and then the Life Drinker.
Right.
This makes it cleaner.
I wonder.
If he does this, he's going to go for a Shudderwalk instead.
Looks like it. Kind of needs the resources, right? He needs the follow-up.
Right.
My claws.
Need the lackeys. Lorewalker. Joe. Oh. Evolves it again.
Grifta.
Gets a Grifta.
Oh, man.
Wait.
Grifta.
What does Grifta do? Grifta says Battlecry, discover 2 cards, give 1 to your opponent at random. So you get to discover 2 cards. Discover's been changed with Grifta. You have no longer a class bonus given to you. TJ, how could Blizzard do this? Grifta was already one of the worst legendaries statistically.
That makes it
win percentage, and you nerfed it.
I think that makes it better. Because all the disruption tools are neutral. And that's the only reason why you'd ever play it is for a disruption tool.
Oh, yes.
He can get Immortal Prelate.
He can get, well, it's discover, you can't discover non-shaman cards.
Oh, yeah. For some reason, I keep thinking Immortal Prelate's
But you can
neutral.
discover Hecklebot.
You can discover Hecklebot.
And pull Shirvala out of the deck.
Is there anything that you can put into your opponent's hand that would interrupt it?
Yeah, King Mukla. If you play King Mukla, your opponent overdraws. There's also the possibility that you get Blatant Decoy. It's a neutral epic, 6-mana 5/5, that pulls the lowest cost minion, and Shirvala will always be 0. TJ.
The problem with
Did someone
Grifta,
order a caramel macchiato with extra spice?
I wonder.
It was Grifta.
well, the problem with Grifta is that he gives it to the player at random. So even if you get the nuts off Grifta, there's still a 50% chance that you give it to
you
yourself.
You choose both.
You just choose King Mukla twice.
Two Muklas, 2 bananas. You do the math. Mutate.
All right, it's Grifta time.
You can double Grifta, TJ. Hero power. Grifta times 2?
Could he mutate into Hakar?
You can. Nope, Nazori's 10 mana. Apologies.
Can he get something off Grifta that can mutate into Hakar?
I want to Grifta twice here.
Can he Grifta into Brightwing and then get Hakar?
Yes. But if we're on that train of thought, I'd want to go even deeper, TJ.
That's pretty deep. Can he hero power Grifta into 2 King Muklas and make his opponent overdraw?
Grifta would have to discover.
I wonder.
Brightwing. Brightwing can only give you legendary minions, right?
Only legendary minions.
Can't give you like a hero card.
Well, you're talking Grifta into Frostledge Jaina?
No, like into a Zul'jin, if it was possible.
Is that Dragonheart? Yeah. Sorry. Or Bat.
If Zul'jin gave you the ability, because when you transform to a hero, you start to discover their class cards.
Yes.
You get the Stinger, which pulls out a minion from your deck and attacks it.
So if you discovered Zul'jin and then got the, what was it, Wild Bloodstinger?
Yeah. You get the Stinger, you pull out the Tiger, and you sting it.
And then it's still alive.
Well, you
So
kill
that's-
it. You kill
okay,
it
okay,
afterwards with your multitude of battle cries. Obviously, all of these are most likely not going to happen, but Zalae is presenting the best possible way for him to threaten his opponent. And I think this might be a Monsanto decides to Twisting Nether moment. This board is way too big.
He still needs 1 turn to buy.
He also could just take the damage. There's 10 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1, 17 damage on the board. And he's at 26. So he could feasibly Hammer Vrat the face.
Or he could
double. He can also double Holy Wrath.
Your wish is my suggestion.
I was thinking he Holy Wrath's face and then Frost Nova? Because then that buys 2 turns.
Oh, TJ. That's really smart.
Because now Zalae gets a turn of development.
Oh, no, but he has another timeout in the deck.
He has another timeout in the deck, but if timeout Shirvala are bottom 2, if timeout's the bottom card, he Holy Wrath's or he Hammer Wrath's face next turn, then draws Shirvala, then what?
What to do?
Then what do you do?
Well, he's most likely going to survive because he has 26.
So Zalae needs to develop a board that...
He's not going to, so he needs to double Grifta here. I want him to double the Griftas. He's not going to do it.
No, he's going to go for a full board.
I know. I'm sad. I just want the Grifta. I get why it's a bad card.
He needed maximum power. He needed Gruul.
Okay, TJ.
All right. So this is
That's guaranteed lethal.
True Server Champion and no, because he needs a Hammer Wrath.
What's his
He needs
last
one
two
more mana.
cards? What's his last two cards?
Well, one of them's Shirvala, and the
This-
other one is Prismatic Lens.
Yeah, well, the other thing that I was hoping for, was if he set up True Server Champion, he had a lethal with equipping True Server Champion, then double Holy Wrath the next turn. But that's only if he didn't draw Shirvala. Because right now, he is a guaranteed 25 Holy Wrath for damage. Right now.
He's guaranteed, but he needs to draw one more card. Because if he draws Prismatic Lens, he'd have to use Prismatic Lens. Oh, no. If he draws Prismatic Lens, then he can just Holy Wrath.
Yeah, he just Holy Wrath twice.
He could True Server Champion Hammer Wrath this turn and not timeout.
I think I like
He goes up to 28.
Holy Wrath.
Or he could do this.
I'm almost out of cards.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to kill this board because there's no way he dies to 4 cards.
So, hold on. Monsanto knows that Zalae is holding Grifta.
So he needs to Hero Power Grifta into...
The thing is, Hero Power Grifta means he has less mana to use the Grifta cards. What can he even do? Timeout! He can no, he can't.
He can't.
It's fully shot.
Oh, Potion Vendor.
Potion Vendor.
It
times
only heals
2.
for 4.
But what if he finds another card? Blatant Decoy!
But he
too
doesn't
late.
have enough mana.
He would have potentially pulled the Baffle Banker, TJ.
So he needed... If he picked Potion Vendor and then gets a second Potion Vendor, he heals to full. Phantom Militia?
No, he doesn't have enough time. He doesn't have enough heal.
Because he would need to heal.
Wait, can he fill? Wait, he can get Mukla still. Mukla would put 4 bananas and he can burn Shirvala. Spellword Jeweler! Are you serious? He gets the Spellword Jeweler!
He's still dead. He could kill the Spellword Jeweler with the True Server
It's a
Champion.
battle cry. TJ.
Oh, it's a battle
until
cry.
his next turn. This is a card that people are legitimately pecking in
There's a bunch
to beat this matchup.
There's a bunch of shamans with Spellword Jeweler.
Yeah, Amnesiac and Saiyan both have Spellword Jeweler. We tested this matchup for 6 minutes because Admirable and Subtle were too busy arguing about whether or not they had the ideal hands to play a test game or
We
not.
didn't even think of Spellword Jeweler as an option from Grifta, and it's actually in people's decks.
Yeah, unironically.
But he can just time out, kill it so it can't be bounced.
But
and
Blatant Decoy, TJ.
Blatant Decoy, and then what? Kill
Pull
it?
the Shirvala. And then kill Shirvala.
How does he kill the Blatant Decoy?
I don't know. Monsanto has to play no cards on the board for that.
He rushes it into something and then discovers a lightning bolt? But how does he discover a lightning bolt? He needs mana to play a lackey.
Clever use of his timeouts so that he doesn't take the fatigue damage. Gets damage in with the True Silver Champion.
Can he kill Blatant Decoy?
Oh!
Is there any way to kill Blatant Decoy? There has to be a
Yes,
way.
Pyromancer's alive on the board!
It's alive, but he's got to find some way to...
Wasp! The Wasp, TJ! Oh!
No.
Oh, it's so close!
This would have been so cool. It would have been... He has a Wasp. He has a Wasp left in his deck.
I wonder.
Wait.
What?
Is there anything that he can pull off the Zalae? No, he can't do anything with that. He can pull his Moga Flesh Shaper, actually, and give it
Can he
+5
pull something that draws him a card?
Akali pulls the Moga Flesh Shaper. Just think about that.
Can he pull something that draws him a card?
Oh, wait. Can he evolve? Mutate?
Yeah, can he pull something that draws him a card?
What's the best mutate?
He's running out of time.
There's a 1-drop that deals damage whenever you summon a minion.
Wait. Ticket Scalper.
Ah!
No, he
wait.
can't do it. He doesn't have a 3.
A valiant effort here by Zalae, but this is where the obscure heart corner case knowledge in Hearthstone is put to the test. You know what I really like? If he traded Shirvala into the 5/5.
If he had drawn a weaponized wasp and could kill off his own blade decoy after rushing it in to the wild pyromancer, perfect mana expenditure. He had the ability to kill Shirvala on board. He would have won.
What a weird game 3, but very cool, and perhaps going to show you a preview of future Shaman versus Paladin matchups. Spellward Jeweler is a card that's being teched in.
Yeah.
And TJ, I wanted that Grifta a little bit earlier.
Spellward Jeweler is in Amnesiac and Just Saying's Shaman list.
Yes.
You know, it's a 3-mana 3/4 that is a battle cry. So even in other matchups, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Well, the reason why it's really good in Shaman is that you can play it, and then you could Bog Slosher it, and then play it again.
So
and
it
some
has
people
to be
play
killed.
for a Brewmaster, and then you play Shutterwalk, and you get that too. If you're able to line up correctly, there's like 4 turns that you can like play it out. And the whole point, though, is that what are you doing besides that?
Yeah.
You need to be able to threaten as well as defend yourself.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting back and forth game. Let's go ahead and check in with Monsanto for a brief interview. Monsanto, can you hear us?
Hey, yeah, what's up?
All right, so how was the conclusion of that series on your end? Were you sweating a little bit with the Griftas?
Yeah, I mean, if he got like a Witch's Brew, I lost. So, I mean, it was super unlikely, but, or there were other options that I could lose with like healing plus the battle cry, but I mean, most of the time, obviously, I win, so I felt pretty confident.
Yeah. Also, the blatant decoy that you saw him play at the end. If he had picked up weaponized wasp, he actually had a goblin lackey in hand, so he could have rushed it in to your wild pyromancer and then wasped
and
killed his blatant decoy, summoned Shirvala, and then killed it.
Yeah, you didn't play around that, did you?
Yeah, you didn't play around that, huh?
Yeah, I need to get better.
Always
Well
looking
said.
for improvements.
Oh, God,
Play around the blatant decoy off the Grifta. Oh man.
So Priest was
yesterday. I lost the game like I was at 20. My opponent just went like 7-drop evolve into Grom, and then he played Lackey to make Grom 10 attack, and then he had a random Wind Fury from like the beginning of the game, and he killed me from 20. So yeah, you need to play around stuff sometimes.
Should have played around it.
Yep.
You chose not to ban Priest, even though it was left up. Instead, choosing to ban the Malikush Druid, he did the same thing too. You know, Priest is being respected so much by many players here. Why in this scenario did you feel comfortable leaving Priest up?
It's not that I was comfortable leaving Priest up. It's because I had 2 decks that so I had my Warrior with no Elysiana that could not beat his Warrior with Elysiana or his Mali Druid, or almost never. And I also had my OTK Paladin, which has a terrible matchup against his Warrior and a terrible matchup against his Mali Druid. So if I have 2 decks that if he just chooses to play those 2 decks, then he should always win. Priest has better matchups, like, on average, but at least there's nothing that I'm so unfavored that I feel like I just can't win the match. So I needed to not leave both Warrior and Druid, basically.
Got it. Well, it looks like everything worked out okay.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, that's right. You are currently 5-4 and improving. You're going up against Frozen, who seem to be another like rival on the other side of the division for a while. Any thoughts about going up against Frozen for the second time this season?
I was pretty unfavored against Zalae's lineup. I think I'm favored against Frozen's lineup, so I'm looking forward to it. He beat me the first time. Let's try to equal that.
All right, sounds good. I'm not going to keep you too much longer. Thank you so much, Monsanto, for joining us. Congrats, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Thank you.